These pearls of wisdom are brought to you by Carl Johnson and members of the Oyster Bay Church of Christ, located at 1044 Shadeville Road, which is 4 miles east of Crawfordville, Florida. Referendum on Jesus Christ. In November, every few years, the United States holds elections for the next president of the country. There are many types of elections in the United States that vary in importance. The United States has held nearly 60 presidential elections since the country was founded. On more than one occasion, a journalist has called an election a referendum on the current president. He used referendum describing the process of placing an issue before the voting public to decide on. He believed that Americans would vote for the incumbent if they were happy with the job he was doing, or if dissatisfied with it, they'd vote for another candidate. The election became a referendum on the president because the outcome rested entirely on his popularity at the time. While I believe God has a hand in putting rulers in place here on earth, I am reminded of another larger referendum with much greater consequences. In John 18, we read about Pontius Pilate when he made Jesus Christ the object of a referendum by calling for a popular vote of the people to decide whether Jesus should live or die. Jesus was arrested, tried in court, and found guilty of blasphemy. According to Roman law, Jews could not exercise the death penalty, and Romans could only do it when a capital offense occurred. The Jews were determined to have Jesus executed, so they brought him to Pilate saying he committed treason. The Jews said Jesus called himself a king and therefore was a threat to Caesar. Pilate had no interest in Jewish religious affairs. His job was to keep peace, collect taxes, and keep clear of Jewish religious practice. He asked, "Art thou the king of the Jews?" And Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not of this world." Pilate is convinced Jesus did nothing worthy of death, and he isn't the type of man normally condemned by Roman courts. Pilate is in a difficult situation, and he would make powerful Jewish enemies if he did not accommodate them. When Pilate remembered the governor's custom of releasing a prisoner during the Passover feast, he thought he could escape a hard decision. The people themselves would be given the choice of one to release. Pilate limited their choices to Jesus or Barabbas, who was a robber and a murderer. Pilate hoped that they would release Jesus over a notorious criminal. Instead, the crowd cried to release Barabbas. Pilate then tried another referendum. He let the people choose what to do with Jesus. Surely they wouldn't choose death. Instead, they cried to crucify him. In the next presidential election, the losers will be disappointed. However, there's much more at stake in the referendum that Pilate proposed, because this time the referendum is for you to decide what to do with Jesus. You cannot let others decide for you. Jesus said, "He that is not with me is against me." So ask yourself, what will I do with Jesus? If you enjoyed today's Pearls of Wisdom and would like to hear more, just go to our website, oysterbaychurchofchrist.org, or visit us in person at 1044 Shadeville Road. Our worship services are at 10 a.m. Sunday morning and 1:30 p.m. Sunday afternoon.